Okay, guys, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. I am super excited because I've got two awesome guests tonight. We have got the ladies from Thick Thighs and Creepy Vibes podcast. They're absolutely awesome. Mandy and Avery. How are you guys? Welcome to Let's Get Freaky.
Thank you for
Thank
having us.
you.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
I'm good too. It's almost the end of the week, so I mean, I can't complain.
Yes, it's nearly Friday. We're so
Yeah,
close. We're so actually where I am, I'm in the UK. It is
right.
Friday. It
It
is
is
It is
Friday,
Friday.
right?
Friday.
So let's go.
It is Friday. I'm saying it is Friday too
It
then.
is Friday, but I basically live on American time, so in my mind
hmm
it's still Thursday as well. I'm still with you
Yeah.
guys, but technically it's 1 o'clock in the morning, so it is Friday.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to talk to you guys tonight. I've been listening to the podcast. I'm absolutely loving it. It's fun.
Awesome. Thank
It's
you.
cool. It's
Thanks.
funny. Like you guys bounce off each other really well. You sort of true crime and the spooky stuff is what you sort of
hmm
do, and
Yep.
that's everything we love here at Let's Get Freaky.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Uh,
Sweet.
how did you guys get into the podcast? Where does it all start for you guys?
It's our favorite story. We
It's
always
our
love
favorite
telling.
story. The best. Um, so I've known Mandy, it's been like what, 11 years? Going on
Yeah,
12?
Preston just
It's
turned
been a
11, so yeah.
it's been a hot minute. So backstory, I dated Mandy's cousin, and during that time, Mandy had just had her youngest, so I was in college at the time, so I would go over and babysit, help her out here and there, whatever. Fast forward a couple years, COVID hit. We started to get really close during like the isolation times. We would like hang out in her driveway when it got warm, and then her cousin and I broke up, and I always like to joke around like Mandy kept me in the divorce. So I've just
Yeah.
stuck around. And for years, we would always joke around saying, like, oh, we're so funny. We need to make a podcast. People should hear how funny we are. Fully knowing that we probably are the only people that think that we are funny. Everyone else in our lives probably just tolerates us. Um,
They're funny.
and then last year, we were like, you know what? Let's just do this. So we bought
Mhm.
mics. We're like, let's do our funny side, but then also like true crime, creepy shit. And yeah, here we are.
And it works, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works.
It
Love
kind of
that.
forced us to spend time together, and
Yep.
maybe we were used to spending so much time together, always at my house when she was dating my cousin. And then, things kind of like didn't really slow down. We were still hanging out, but then I went through a divorce. And so things kind of changed for me and shifted a little bit. And we, spent as much time together as possible, and just kind of supported each other through those times. And I was like, well, I need to make sure we're always in contact. So this is the reason.
There's no
So
going back now. There's no going back
Yeah.
now.
no,
Doing a
no.
podcast with someone is more of a commitment than marriage,
A
kids.
hundred
Yeah.
You know,
hmm
percent.
you've got an audience now, and you've got to keep going. So,
Yep.
Yeah. People need our episodes, man.
100%. So are you
Exactly.
doing one a week at the moment? Is that right? Every Wednesday?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then Sunday Scaries once a month.
hmm
So we'll
Awesome.
post that like mid-month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I've been loving it. I've subscribed today, and I'm going to
Awesome.
be listening going
Thank you.
forward, and I am loving it. So, you're based
Awesome.
in Canada, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, we are in
Whereabouts?
Ontario.
What part? Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, so we're like 2 hour and a half to 2 hours outside of Toronto.
Hmm.
hmm
Yeah.
Cool.
Toronto's
Okay.
always like the nice hub to tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Canada's so big. I didn't realize
Yeah.
it is. It's huge
Yeah.
because we've been thinking about maybe moving to the US, and then we was thinking maybe Canada.
hmm
Because you can walk over to the US where you guys are. So
Yeah.
it's so big. There's so much. There's so many
I
Yeah.
places.
mean, like, not to be biased or anything, but like Canada's definitely the better choice in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because like cool
Not
people
wrong.
like us are here.
Yeah.
There's
I
so
was.
much to see, so much to explore. Like I know for us, like for me anyways, I haven't seen everything I want to see of Canada. Like I've taken my oldest out east. I want to take my youngest out east. He has a lot of family out there, and I absolutely love it out east. It's gorgeous. It's like slow time. Everyone's just chill. And I think I was in BC for like 36 hours for work one time. And I was like, the minimal I saw, I was like, I need to go back. So just like even an adventure, like my boyfriend and I want to do like, take a trailer, drive down, go out west and then come back. But there's just so much to see and so much to do. And yeah.
And
so many parks.
yeah, and a lot of
Yeah.
Bigfoot sightings as well, which we like here at Let's Get Freaky.
Mm-hmm. See, you gotta come here and go on your own sighting. See, that's what you need to do.
I know. That's the goal. That's the goal. So
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you guys as well, when you're doing, you get a drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get, is that every
Yep.
episode you get a drink? Have I got that
Usually
right?
it's me.
It's what? Sorry.
It's usually me who's drinking.
Oh,
I mean,
you're the
Avery,
drinker.
I'm the drinker. Avery will sometimes, but if we're recording together, because like someday she'll come into my house because her boyfriend lives close to my house, so we'll record together on like a Thursday night or a Friday night, and we'll do like record 4 episodes in a row, and like you can tell because episodes slowly start to get swirly, and you're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
like. Or I mention how much I'm drinking, and usually then it's like, oh, I found this new drink. Like recently there was one, and I was like, I found this new drink, and I was having a great time through it.
Yeah.
But usually I like to have a drink. I have one now.
What we
But
got? What we
Avery,
got?
I've just got a beer in my little brewmate. I think it's
Love that.
a little low calorie. Yeah, it's Ace Hill. It's a low calorie
wow.
Canadian beer. So
Okay.
it's Thursday night. I still have to work tomorrow, so I can't be like too crazy.
Nearly Friday. So Avery, have you got a
Nearly
drink? Have you got a drink there?
I do actually today. It's very rare that I drink. A couple months ago, I
Mhm.
had some like health problems, so I've like
Mhm.
kind of cut off drinking, but I
Mhm.
do. It's kind of lame and it's kind of just like a smorgasbord of like whatever I had in the house, but it's vodka and like pineapple pina colada like juice.
Wow.
I'll take it.
Nice. Tropical. I like it.
Very.
Well, I've got
Yeah.
mine's not alcoholic. I do drink, but I've got a cream soda. I went for the cream
Ooh,
soda.
I love a good cream soda. Is it a
just-
white cream
Good.
soda though? Like a
think
sugar
so.
cane?
I think yeah.
Yeah, those are my
Oh,
favorite.
But apparently
Those are good ones.
there's no sugar in it apparently. So that's weird.
Ooh, that's even better.
I heard you guys talking about your drinks today, so that's why I thought I'd bring a drink. I do drink
Yeah,
alcohol.
we get really excited come summertime. That's when our liquor store like revamps and they just like push out a boatload of new cool stuff because it's like such a Canadian thing. Like you've got a drink and you're at a cottage or a lake, a campsite, something like that. That's just like, especially for Mandy and I, that's a lot of how we
Yeah.
did like our bonding and stuff. So
Mhm.
we always like chatting about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
And I will say, we have like LCBOs around here, and that's where you mainly get your liquor and your beer. Like we started to sell it at grocery stores and convenience stores now, but I went to the LCBO yesterday. It's like, I'm going to get some stuff because I'm camping. Like I'm going to start camping this weekend. I have a 27-foot travel trailer I take around, but this year I've decided to put it in a park for the season. And so I just set it up and I'm slowly getting everything ready. So I was like, I'm going to stock up some drinks because I'm going to be there this weekend. I'm going to get my deck ready. And so I went in there. Oh my God, so many drinks, Avery. You got to go check it out. They were like, Thursdays, they always stock all the new stuff. And I was like, I don't know what to get. There's so many things. And I'm like, oh God. I stood there forever. I was like, what do I buy?
Well, I haven't drunk any alcohol for a month, which is quite.
It was good.
It's good for me.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not a massive drinker, but I'll have a drink.
Yeah.
Try to just drink on the
Just the
weekends,
random
really.
ones.
Yeah, a couple of Bud
Yeah.
Lights, nothing
Yeah.
too crazy. Have a few. But I had without going too into it because it's gross. I had an infection in my back, and I had to take medication. You couldn't drink, so for about 2 weeks I wasn't drinking, and I was pretty ill anyway as well.
Yeah.
And I've just carried it on. It feels quite good not
Yeah.
to drink, even though I'm not.
It
I
does.
haven't got a problem. I swear, but.
No, it's good to sometimes just take a break. I know what that feels like because
Yeah.
it's like you're just like after all, you're like, oh, I haven't had a drink in a while, and you're like, this is great.
Yeah.
And my friend, she's hilarious because she's a huge drinker. Like she absolutely loves to drink. That's her thing. That's what she does. And we were hanging out on a Sunday one time, and this wasn't too long ago. She goes, oh, she's like, man, it feels good not to be hungover on a Sunday for once. I was like, yo, when was the last time you were hungover? She's like, I don't remember. She's like, but this is what
gosh.
it feels like. And I was like, you're not up
Yeah.
till 4 a.m. drinking. I'm like, you're sober today. This is great. You got to keep that up. She's like, oh, I don't know if I can do that.
I don't like those hangovers. Oh,
No,
I just-
Oh,
no.
the worst.
the older you get, the harder they get. I just can't. I can't handle it.
I hear you. I'm going to be 40 this year. And I'm like, man, my body can definitely feel it. I can't do it the same. Yeah.
So, spooky and true crime is your What
Mhm.
got you into those subjects? What was the reason why you picked those? I know they're very popular subjects. We all love paranormal and true crime as
Mhm.
well.
Yep,
You know, it's such a big subject. You put Netflix on, and half of it is true crime, and I love it.
Yeah.
definitely.
So what was the reason for you guys?
I mean, like we both love it. I mean, who
Mhm.
doesn't?
Hmm.
But then also we noticed that there really wasn't a whole lot of like Canadians producing like Canadian content.
Mhm.
So we really wanted to kind of like narrow in and talk about just Canadians, weird shit that's happened in Canada, spooky legends. We both grew up, Mandy more so me. She's got a boatload of stories. But we
Let's
both grew up
go.
we
Sorry.
both grew up in like creepy haunted houses and like
Mhm.
a lot of weird shit happened to us in our lives. And then we live in an area that is like pretty intense for some legends and myths and all that fun stuff.
Hauntings. Yeah.
So we just
Wow.
kind of decided to go from there. And then also we like to throw in and really kind of look at and bring light to missing and murdered Indigenous women and children.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, it's such a huge, huge topic, especially in Canada, but like all over North America.
Mhm.
And we just noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of content around it. So we're going to try and bring as much as we can.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Because Indigenous people going missing is quite a big problem in Canada, right? I'm not.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Very.
And is it sort of not really publicized? Is it not really made a? Is that the problem? Some people, it's not on the news. It's not on the mainstream.
It's like very
It's
loosely out there. It's
yeah.
not in depth.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
not really in your face either, unless that's something that you're really focusing on, or you're following a lot of, on social media, a lot of Indigenous accounts, or really paying attention and focusing on that sort of stuff. And for like within during COVID, a lot of stuff kind of came to light. And one of the biggest things that did come to light was the residential schools in Canada and all of the awful, horrible, heartbreaking things that had happened to those Indigenous kids, women, and men in those schools. And when they were going to these schools, which are no longer around, but stayed open way too long,
Way too
they
long.
did start to find that there was bodies buried on these properties. So that was a huge thing that came about in the amount of children. And so in Canada, we it was developed in September. On September 30th, they came up with Orange Shirt Day, which is to honor those children and the awareness around it, and all the injustices that were done to these children and the families and the traumas that still linger from it. And so that kind of was really more forefront than what we've seen in the past with them. And for Avery and I, it's really important. She grew up in an area where there was a lot of Indigenous families. And for me, I have family who is Indigenous. So from like married into family, I have like a couple of my cousins, their grandfather, he's Indigenous. So they have that background. And so I support them and their past and their traumas and their families. And so we want to make sure that more people are aware of it, because there are so many people who just aren't, they don't know what's happening,
Hmm.
and they need to know what's happening, because a lot of these things that are happening are a lot of people aren't educated, or with these missing and murdered women, they're unsolved. The majority of them are unsolved. And that's the sad, scary part about it, because there's just too many of them.
Hmm. Yeah,
So the more
man.
we talk about it and get it out there, we're hoping that it'll land in the right hands. And that's actually one thing that did happen when we started our podcast. We started our podcast last March, and it is now May, which is crazy. But we started it last March, and a couple of months in. So in June, it's National Indigenous Day, and it's June 21st, 22nd, I believe. And I always forget the exact date,
Me
but
too.
it's definitely, we celebrate it all June. So I don't focus directly on the date. I focus on the entire month.
Hmm.
And so what happened is we did a story about a missing girl from Alberta. So her name was Amber Tucaro. She's a really huge case within Canada for she was young. She had a small baby. She went to go visit her brother. Her brother was in a correctional center. So she went with a friend. She went to go visit him. She wanted to go visit the town, and she left for the night and never came back. And she left her baby with someone she rarely knew. And there is actually a recording. I think it was, so early on, we have that episode, and there's recordings of her because she called. Well, she was in the car with someone she got a ride with. And there's a recording of her asking this man where he was taking her, because he wasn't taking her to where she was supposed to be going. And you can hear her say, like, you can kind of hear him in the background, but she's saying, this isn't where I want to go. This isn't the road. Are you sure this is going to take me there? And so her family put that out there, and they're trying to figure out whose voice it is and who it's related to. And when they did find her body, it turns out that there was quite a few other Indigenous women who were missing around that time in that area, and their bodies were found kind of in the proximity to where her body was found. And so we mentioned them on the podcast as well. And we were like, this could be a potential serial killer, because three victims, that's a serial killer. And if it's within the same area, we know this person's targeting these type of women who are vulnerable and Indigenous. So we put them out there, and, we had just started, we were very small, and we somehow had our podcast stumble upon a woman who messaged us. She emailed us and said, one of the women that you mentioned and you posted about, that was my cousin. And we were like, no way. She goes, yeah, that's my cousin. I never got to meet her, but I remember when it happened and she went missing and how horrible it was and how sad it was. And she's like, I did a whole, she had a blog. She did a whole post on it. She's like, thank you so much for like saying her name and bringing to light what's happening in these things. So that was huge for us. And after that, we were like, we really need to talk about these things more often, because it is reaching people. And out of all the people we could reach, we reached someone who was very thankful we were able to put it out there, because she is affiliated with, I believe, the same person who took Amber. So so it was really crazy for us to stumble upon that.
Did they ever find, was that case ever solved, or?
Nope, still unsolved.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's good on you guys to be raising awareness and to be putting it out there. Wow, man. I did watch a documentary, and it's predominantly like young women. Is that right, that are going missing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some sick people out there, man.
There's some disturbed people.
What's so sad is in this genre, there are way too many. That is the sad part. So that's why we also do, like, the hauntings and the ghosts and the paranormal. We like to break it up.
Yeah.
It gets very heavy sometimes. And so we like to just throw in a little legend from Canada or little hauntings from Canada. And that's why we also brought in our Sunday Scaries content. So when we first started, we were like, let's get as much content as we can together, throw it out there. So we were doing 2 episodes a week, basically. Like, we always had a Sunday Scaries and a Wednesday episode. And after a while, I was like, girl, this is a lot, especially after her first summer. We're like, I love telling these stories, but this is a lot. So we decided to bring it back and do once a month. And usually we focus around a theme, or just do, like, sometimes we'll end up with like the same stories. So what we do is we go on Reddit, we find like the craziest shit we can find.
Yeah.
And then we read it. Like we did, I always love it when we have a theme. And like last summer, our birthdays are both in July. So last summer we did like a Sunday Scaries around my birthday. And then we did a Sunday Scaries around Avery's birthday. And Avery hates clowns. So all of my stories were clown themed. She was so mad at me.
I don't blame her. I don't like clowns. Who likes clowns, by the way? I don't think
exactly. Nobody.
I don't know. I don't know why. It's like I always think of those stupid little ugly clowns. Like when we were kids and your grandma collected them, they had like the weird painted faces and the little dolls, and they just like stare at you all the time.
Yeah.
No, not for me.
No, mine goes back to like the big comfy couch. Like Lunette creeped me out.
Lunette.
creeped me out. My parents say I
I'm gonna
watched it
get
all
you
the
that
time.
for your
I'm like,
birthday.
don't do that. Fuck you. My parents said that I would watch it all the time. I'm like, it's probably like instilled trauma in my head now. Like that's probably why I'm
See,
terrified of
Yeah.
her.
what's
Yeah.
funny is most people are scared of clowns because of it. They watched it as a kid, or those creepy little clowns that you buy like when you were a kid, or those like weird
Mhm.
like drama masks. Those things are
I mean,
Yeah.
those
fucking weird
are all
too.
equally creepy.
Yeah, all the same. Yeah.
I watched it when I was quite young, and yeah, it messed me up.
Yeah.
That scene when he comes out the bath. No, no, no,
I
no,
can
no.
proudly say I've never watched it. Any of them. I've never read the
Wow.
books. That's how
There's a new one
scared
as
I
well.
am.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame
Fuck
you.
that.
I
No.
actually watched Chucky. I know it's not a clown, but I watched Chucky, or Child's Play, when I was 4. And
I was
apparently,
7. Yeah.
oh, well, that's young as well. But
My favorite though.
oh, scared, look, it ruined me. Like, so my, it's probably why I'm here. It probably messed me up so much as a kid. But my granddad, my mum said my granddad bought the video for me because he thought it was a kid's film, apparently.
No, I
Oh
get
And
that.
no.
I watched it, and I don't, as I know, I'd say on the show a lot, I'm scared of the dark because things I've experienced, but that might be a reason as well. So,
It's so funny because that was like my first movie I watched as a kid. Me and my sister, that was like our thing. And me and my sister are obsessed with like horror movies, Halloween, everything. And so is my niece. And so Child's Play is like our favorite movie. And so we always say, we're always like, wanna play? And like my one friend hates it. So me and my sister, whenever we get a chance, we'll just send her photos of Chucky all the time.
oh,
Like my sister wants one of the real life good guy dolls. Like I
no, no,
favorite.
No.
And
no way.
Halloween.
I don't like
Oh.
any dolls. I mean, I go in my daughter's room and there's dolls in
Yeah.
there, and I'm like looking at me, like, no, don't like it.
No.
You have to
I
make
don't
sure
know.
their eyes aren't following you.
I know, I know, I know. And there's so many people that have haunted dolls now. Like every
Yeah.
paranormal group, and like, oh no, I can't be having that. I'm sorry.
No.
Well,
See,
we
Yeah.
did Avery did an episode on a haunted doll, and the
Mhm.
haunted doll's name is Mandy.
Yeah.
He's the one
I
out in
did that one
Vancouver.
around your
Yeah.
birthday too.
You did, yeah.
I did.
I was so
Oh.
mad. I was like, no.
So
Had to.
you guys both, did you say you both were brought up in a haunted house? Both of you, because we've got to get
Yes.
into that. We've got to get into that.
Yes.
Avery's is
Tell
more
me.
traumatizing than mine. Your mom loves it though. Like your mom thrives on this story.
She does. So it was like what, 2 months ago, I think. We did a Sunday
Yeah, I think 2
Scaries,
months ago.
and
Yeah.
my mom, I was with my mom at the time, so I was like, you know what, like, here, take my headphone. You can like listen in. And then she obviously couldn't keep her mouth shut, and so she was like jumping in and making all these comments.
It was so fun.
Mandy asked her about like her own experiences. Pretty much, I grew up after we moved from up north. I was like just turning 9 or 10, I think, when we moved back down to Southern Ontario. And my parents bought my mom's childhood home from her dad. So, whatever, I knew the same stories that my mom did when she was a kid. I knew that there was this haunted old lady on the stairs. She's pretty tame, to be honest. But my mom goes into full detail about how what was my bedroom. We knew that there was a ghost in the closet doing weird shit. But then my mom started talking about how when she was like pretty young, I think she said she was under 2, she probably was like just walking around and talking. She would be terrified of her closet, and she always have to push like her little doll stroller in front of the door before she went to bed, and it just creeped her out. She would never open it. She's sitting here telling Mandy this story, and I'm kind of like, okay, interesting. Yep, keep going, Mom. Perfect. She talks about how this medium came into the house and went up to the bedroom, and she ran down the stairs so fast when my grandpa opened the door and basically told my grandparents, like, get that little girl out of that room. There's something horrible in that closet. So I'm like getting terrified, and my mom's like, yeah, like it was intense. And after that, they switched rooms around and blah, blah, blah. And then I stop and I pause for a second. I'm like, you little shit. I then found out that that room that they could not keep my mom in when she was a child is the room that my mother gave me at 10 years old.
No.
And made me spend, yes, and made me spend
No.
like 10 years in that room. And I'm like, no shit, I think this place is fucking haunted. It is. And you put your trauma on me. And my mom's gutting herself laughing. And I know when she listens to this, she's gonna be like, nah, of course I did that.
She is so funny because when
Ugh,
she brought it up and she was like, Avery, it's all about building character, okay? Because I was like,
yes.
you just passed on your trauma. She goes, no. It's character
Character
building.
building.
Yeah. It made you
Yeah.
who you are today. And I was like, that is a classic mom quote to say. And it's like, we can
It
tell who
was.
her favorite child is, right? No, I'm
Yep.
kidding.
Thanks, Mum.
Put me in the haunted room, I guess.
Oh my gosh. So what sort of things were
Yeah.
you experiencing in there? Were you
I
regularly having experiences?
honestly, I didn't have anything like too traumatic. Like when my mom said this lady says it was like a horrible demonic energy, all that crap. I didn't have anything. I would have like your typical like stuff being shuffled around my room. Um, my DVDs would always like skip or like restart or randomly turn on in the middle of the night. But I do remember being terrified of my closet. So the closet had access to the attic in it, and I always just thought I was creeped out because it was an attic. But you would walk in the closet and there was like one rack here, and then this side kind of extended down a little bit more. And I remember my friends and I were playing hide and go seek once, and my friend hid in the very, very back corner of my closet, and I totally refused to get her out. I was like, no, you're staying in there. Like, I can't go in there. She's like, why won't you go in your closet? I'm like, I can't. I can't. And I was just so headstrong on not going in that closet. And it was just, it gave me the worst feeling ever. And now I know why. But
Wow.
yeah,
So
nothing like
you never went
super
in there.
creepy.
You never went in the closet then.
Oh no. My parents like shoved all of their suitcases in the very back so then
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a reason. I'm like, I'm not getting that out. I'm not going on the trip. You guys get it out. I hated opening it. And the closet would like pop open randomly.
Oh,
My
the
parents
old
always told
doors.
me
I
like,
hate that.
yeah, they were like, it's an old
Hmm.
house, like the
Hmm.
temperature, it shifts around. And it was probably this ghost trying to escape.
Yeah,
Man,
your mom
But
knew. She was
oh
gaslighting
yeah.
you. God damn it, Sarah. You gaslit your own daughter.
did your mum see anything in there? Did she actually see anything or
I don't know if she said she saw anything, but after um her and my grandparents swapped rooms when she was a kid, she said that my grandpa got out of bed for whatever reason one day. He had like leg pain, so he would kind of get up and stretch. And I guess he went to go like lean or he wobbled or something, and he had somebody like push him to stand right up. And like he woke my grandma up to have proof, and I would say
interesting?
that's probably like the creepiest thing I know that happened in
Yeah.
there.
That's pretty
Yeah.
creepy. But I mean,
Yeah, it is.
that's someone trying to help him though. So I've heard that many times where people say
Yeah.
that a
Yeah.
spirit has caught that something's caught them that they can't see.
Caught them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
interesting. So was this like a built-in wardrobe,
Uh,
or was it like a
uh,
an old school Narnia style wardrobe?
no, it was just like a closet in the, so it's just an extra little part off of the room. Yeah. But
Okay.
it was pretty long, pretty deep,
Yeah.
very creepy.
Okay. Okay. So like a
Yeah.
built-in. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Narnia, you know, when they walk through the closet,
Yeah.
go
Little
into
closet, you disappear.
another world.
Not that
Yeah.
cool.
Through a
I think I would
Yeah.
probably
portal.
spend more time in there if it were like Narnia, but no. Just creepy, cold, drafty, creaky. Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Freaky
No one
stuff
likes
though.
those.
I mean, to
freaky.
when stuff happens in your room, like things, electronics turning themselves on. I know that
Yeah.
can sort of be explained by maybe there's a malfunction or whatever, but
I don't know.
it's still scary. Like it still
Or like,
scares me now when the telly turns itself on or something like that.
yeah.
You know?
Or like people like touching your feet or touching you in the
Oh,
middle of the
yeah,
night. Like,
that is
Yeah.
scary.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
100%.
creepy.
So you was getting
So,
stuff like that as well, feeling.
yeah, like my feet at the end of the bed, that kind of stuff. Like
Feet are
most kids,
always
I
under
would
the blanket.
never, yeah,
No,
I would never
yeah,
have like my feet exposed or hanging over the side of the bed. But yeah,
man, you stayed in there for 10 years, did you say?
yeah, my parents sold it. Yeah, it would have been like 1920 when my parents sold it. And then I
Yeah.
moved out and went to college. So yeah.
Wow, you're braver than me, that's for sure. Things touching my
Yeah.
feet and stuff going off.
It was really funny though. My cousin ended up buying it from my mom. So it kind of just trickled in the family. And I was told by my mom, my cousin, my grandpa, do not tell your cousin's wife that the house is haunted. So I had to keep my mouth shut, and I was like really petty, and I was upset that my parents were selling the house. So I'm like, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her it's haunted, so she gets creeped out. I didn't. I decided to be mature.
You're
Ah,
too nice,
should've.
Avery.
yeah,
I
I
would
should have told her.
not.
Should have
I
told her.
know. I should like go and slip a note in the mailbox of like the new people that own the house. It's
Yeah.
no family member. Be like, this place is haunted as fuck. Have fun.
You'll be like The Watcher, you know, that series where like someone
Yeah.
That
sends
is-
notes to the people
yeah.
who move in.
Yeah.
That is a
I'm
great
gonna
show.
do that.
Yeah, The Watcher. Where they've got like the tunnels under the house and stuff that goes into like other
Yeah.
houses. Yeah, that's based on a
Yeah.
true
Great.
story, apparently.
Yeah,
Apparently.
that's what they say. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Like people in your attic.
Yeah. I would not like that at all.
No.
So,
No.
Mandy, you grew up in a haunted house as well, did you say?
I did. I grew up in a few haunted houses, actually. So when it's funny because my mom was actually just telling my youngest this story the other day because so my youngest is 11 and he is all of a sudden now into like horror and like ghosts and paranormal and haunting. So he's been watching on YouTube Sam and Colby. They're like younger YouTube guys who go around and explore everything. So we've been watching that. And like some of their episodes had like Selena Spooky Boo in it because I love her. And so we were watching it and he's like, Mom, we went for dinner the other night. He goes, do you know where I want to go for my birthday? I said, where? He goes, I want to go to Gettysburg. And I said, I'll take you to
Wow.
Gettysburg. I've been to Gettysburg. My dad made me go on a family vacation because he was obsessed with the Civil War. I was like, and I was in the haunted houses in there. So yes, I will go back to Gettysburg. And he's like, and I want to go to I can never say it, the Velisca Axe murder house, the one where the whole family was murdered. He wants to go there. And
Is
he
that
wants to go to Lizzie Borden's house. I said, we'll stay in it. Let's sleep in it. So he's like, let's do that for my birthday next year. And I was like, all right,
What a
we'll
little
plan a
dude.
trip.
Yeah.
He'll probably cry the whole time, but you know, like
Same. I would.
Yeah, I would.
you have to come though, so the two of you can cry and I can laugh at you. Okay, how about that?
Okay. Fair.
So we were talking about like haunted stuff, and he's like, I want to save up my money and buy all these paranormal things. And I was like, okay, cool, sure, buddy, that's what you want to do. So my mom was like, oh, she was telling him like, my mom she's experienced her own hauntings. She's experienced her own premonitions. She's kind of got a little bit of a gift and doesn't really know how to use it. But my sister's the same way. And she's experienced a lot of stuff. So when we were little, we lived in this old farmhouse and I was born. My parents moved into it when she was pregnant with me. So my sister would have been like 2 at the time. And we lived there until I was about 5. So my mom was saying it's like an old stone farmhouse. And what's funny is the house is gone, but I have a photo of that house after, like, because it got abandoned. So I have a photo of the house when we lived in it and then a photo after when it was abandoned. And so I love to tell the stories of it because I have the photo, but it was an old brick home and you would walk in and it was like the living room and then the bathroom, which used to be a bedroom at one point when they didn't have the bathrooms in the house. And then you go through to the kitchen, which had the old wood stove. And then a little old cellar like off the back that gets you down to the creepy old dirty basements. And then stairs that wound up, like the old wooden stairs. They had like the door and the stairs so they could put their guns and hide all their stuff in it in case anyone tried to break into their houses. And then you would go up and around, and then there was 3 bedrooms. And so my sister, I guess she was sitting on the couch in the living room, and the couch was kind of close to the door that went into the kitchen. And she was sitting there and she felt someone touch her, like kind of like pull on her. And she told my mom, she's like, someone's touching me. My mom's like, there's nobody there. I don't know what you're talking about. And my sister's like, no, I swear, someone touched me. I think she was like 4 at the time. So she was like, someone touched me. There was someone, I felt them, and found out later that an old man had passed away in that house. And then during the time we lived in that home, my mom's dad had cancer. So he was staying with us. And after he passed, him and my sister were really close during the time that they were there. I never got to meet him because I think I was like a year old when he passed away. And so my mom said she would hear my sister talking to someone and she would say like, oh, like I'm talking to grandpa. And like my mom's like, I'm pretty sure my dad would come back and visit my sister during that time. My sister doesn't remember those times, but my mom remembers hearing her talk to people and be like, who are you talking to?
Wow.
Yeah. And so we didn't live there too long, and then we moved away. And then when I was probably in high school, we moved into this home, and it was like a newer built home, but it was on a horse farm. And there used to be the old original home beside where they built the new house. And I remember my cats would always, like, they always say kids and animals can see things, right? So we had, like, you'd walk in the front door, and it was a pretty big home. So it was like you had like a family room to your left, and then straight up the stairs wound up a couple of stairs, and then you would have this long hallway at the back. And it was like my bedroom, another bedroom, a bathroom, and then at the end of the hall was my sister's bedroom, which was converted from two other bedrooms into one, and then my parents' giant bedroom over the garage. But my cats would always sit and stare at the end of the hallway and stare at something at the end. And my sister would always be like, great, I gotta go walk into my room, and there's probably some man just standing outside my room here. And one day so it was like this horse farm was like on the corner of two country roads. And so the house was sat on the lot, and around the house in the back and in the front were horse pens. And then there was a big pond at the back. And then there was a bunch of horse barns where they would put the horses because they trained them for a local racetrack. And so it was big. You could see everything. You could see your neighbors, even though it was out in the country on a corner. You could see everything. You could see where someone was going, if they were walking somewhere, if they drove in, that type of stuff. And someone knocked on our door. It was the summer. And my cat was like losing its mind at the person at the front door. And we're like, what is wrong with the cat? Like, cats never do that. And so we're like, what is wrong with you? And it was my cat at the time was Licorice. So he would, like, normally really shy, would just hide. And he was like hissing, and he didn't like the person at the door. And he was like this old man. And we're like, yo, calm down.
Leave the
So
old man
this
alone.
man, yeah, I'm like, leave the poor old man alone, man. So he came to the door, and he starts talking to my mom and my sister, and I could hear them talking. I was upstairs, and he was like, oh, I used to live here. I used to live in the old house that was next door, and I was born in that house. And he was just going on and telling my mom and my sister just the stories of, like, things that happened, and where his bedroom was on the, in the old house and stuff like that. And the whole time my cat was still like, I'm not a fan of this person. I don't want this person here. And my mom was like, oh, well, thank you for this story. That's great. We appreciate it. It was great to meet you. And so the man left, and he walked down, and we're like, where did this man come from? So my mom's like, what, are you driving here? Where'd he come from? My mom looked out, and she looked down because the driveways kind of crossed. You could see them. She's like, I didn't see him. And there's no way that old man moved that fast. She's like, I have no idea where he went. Her and my sister swear that, like, we have no idea. Didn't get in a car. We didn't hear a car. We would have.
Whoa.
Didn't see him. I'm like, oh man, don't shuffle that hard. Like,
Yeah.
we definitely don't. So my mom was like, I think that was the ghost. That's why the cat was losing it.
Yeah.
And he just showed up and then disappeared. Because my sister and my mom are very sensitive people. So it's like they showed up, talked with them, and then away he went. He just wandered back into the.
Did you say you saw him?
I didn't see him. I just know my cat was meowing now, but my mom and my sister did.
Wow. That'd be interesting. Do you have them similar sort of abilities, or?
Yes and no. Like, I call it my butterflies, my gut feeling, like butterflies in my stomach. I always know when something's going to happen, but I just never know if it's going to be good or bad. And I'm slowly starting to know when it is going to be good or bad based on the intensity of it. And I kind of learned that over the last couple of years, but I would get it all the time. And after that would happen, I would find out later something, like, I know something happened with my sister I remember the night before, I was like, I just felt this the whole time. And then I found out something was going on with my sister. And I can usually tell too, especially when it's my family, that something's happening. And yeah, it's like the strangest feeling. Like, sometimes I just know too. I'm like, I can just tell, like, oh, I think I need to message my sister, or, I need to do this, or I think I need to drive a different way today. And my mom gets the same
Interesting.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hers is more, my mom's is more of like dreams. So my mom she's had it since she was younger, and she saw like a tea leaf reader person one time. And they said, like, you have abilities, you need to figure out how to use them. And my mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. My mom grew up in like, she was born 1962. So she's like, we don't talk about that stuff during that time. Right. So there's a few instances. So she had a dream when she was younger that she has them. So it's 3 dreams in a row. And it's like she's there. So she's like, I can tell you what it smelled like. I can tell you what, it looked like, as if I was physically there in that moment. And she kept seeing this man. She was in a kitchen and she was looking out a window and she kept seeing someone fall past the window off the roof. She's like, she's like, that's weird. And that was kind of like her first real like experience with it. And so she was at her friend's house one day and her dad was doing work on the roof. And my mom's like, I was standing in that kitchen. Exact same thing happened that I saw in my dream 3 times. And so she was like, I was really freaked out by that. And then when I was younger, we always like to live in remote places. I don't know why, like in the country, that was our thing. And so we lived in this town called Penetanguishene, and it's about 20 minutes to get into town where my mom worked. And she would have to take all of these like winding country roads. And one of these winding country roads took you around basically Georgian Bay. It's a big popular lake in the area. And so she was going around it, and it is the wintertime. Winter here, shit. So especially in Penetang, icy, tons of snow. And if you're in the back roads, you're not getting plowed till like near the end of the day. So she was heading into work after she had these dreams, and she kept having these dreams where she was driving that road and it was right along the water, and she kept seeing a car upside down in the water. And she had it 3 times. And she was like, she kept thinking it was going to be her. So every time she drove past around that spot, she drove really, really slow because there was no guardrails into the water. So if you go, you're going in, like, that's it. So, but it wasn't too deep at first, a little bit shallow, but then it got pretty deep. So she kept thinking it was going to be her, and she was terrified. She's like, I got young children at home. Like back in the day, there's no cell phones. You don't have that type of stuff. So the one day she was going to work, she's like, I was scared. I had to pull over. I had to like catch my breath because she's like, that car that I saw in my dream was in that water upside down. It was the exact stuff. She's like, I for sure thought it was going to be me, but it wasn't. Turns out a man was driving along, had a heart attack, and he lost control and he went into the water. And after that, they put up guardrails. But my mom's like, it was the scariest thing to experience because forever I thought it was going to be me.
Yeah.
And another time I know for sure that it happened was related to me, actually. She kept having this dream of a baby boy. She's like, someone's going to have a baby boy in the family. We have a pretty big family. And I was 20 at the time. And so she's like, someone's going to have a baby boy. I know it. And turns out I got pregnant at 20 and I'm the one who had the baby boy.
Wow.
Yeah. Then after that, she stopped having it. And it's funny because the dream kind of happened around the time. So before I found out I was pregnant with my son, my oldest, and it was around November. And October, November is hunting season in this area. So you go deer hunting, guys take the week off. That's what they do. And weather can be really cold or it can be really warm. And that November, it was really warm. It was not normal, but it was hunting season. And my dad was hunting. He was on his way home that day. And I was driving because I lived in the country, and I was driving and I saw a deer go, and I'm like, okay, one deer, there's probably going to be more. So I slowed down even more because whenever you see one, there's going to be more that are coming with it. It's what I've always was taught. And out of nowhere, because I thought I saw them all cross, I was like, oh, this should be fine. Didn't see any more. This one just flew out of this giant ditch right into the side of my car. I hit it and I was like, oh, for crap's sakes. I was like 5 minutes from home. And I was like, are you serious? So I pull over, waiting for the police to show up. And my dad's like on his way home, like, caught you a deer, Dad. It's right here. If you didn't get one, I got one for you. So I waited, and the guy came, did all this stuff to do with the accident. And the thing is, we also have a thing with deer. So when my mom's parents passed away, they have we always say like a blue heron is my grandma. That was her favorite bird. So whenever we see one, we say that's her coming to visit us because it's on her gravestone. And my grandfather has a deer on his because he was a hunter. And before he passed away, he went into the bush and he just wanted to watch the deer. He didn't want to hunt them. He just wanted to go in, watch them. So a deer is this thing. So every time we see one, we say, that's grandpa coming to visit us. And the fact that I hit one, I was like, maybe someone's trying to tell me something to slow down. So I was like, I'm going to take that as a sign to slow down. Cool. And my mom was having those dreams around that time. And not even a month later, I found out I was pregnant with my oldest. I thought I just had a flu for months, and turns out
Yeah.
that flu lasted 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, 'cause I don't believe in coincidences anymore or anything like that. I think there's too much of this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it's
It
like
is.
the message or whatever it is, but very interesting.
Yeah. And then the time where that accident happened, we were living in the last house that was haunted that I lived in. And we bought this house from a gentleman who ended up passing away from cancer after. And after he passed away, he had lived there for so long. His kids came and said, hey, can we spread our father's ashes on the property? There was about 4 acres of the property. And we were like, of course you can. We're so morbid. Go for it. So in the corner of our property, we had we had lots of animals growing up. And so my dad had built like a little pet cemetery. So he had like little archway, little stones, little benches, and they all had their own little rocks and everything. And he would go and he'd plant flowers and stuff for them. Even though he hated all these animals, he made this little cemetery.
That's what we say.
That's what I know, right?
Love them, really.
You really do.
Yeah.
So we were like, you know what? Why don't you put your dad over there with all of our pets? He can hang out with the dogs, the cats. He can have some company. And there was a farmer's field next door. So they spread the ashes over there, and we would experience random things. Like I know I would experience random things in the bedrooms upstairs. Like my mom would clean or I would clean, and we'd always find random pennies or dimes in the same places we just cleaned that weren't there before. And we're like, I just swept here. Where did this come from? And then we did like renovations on the house, and my parents found like old artifacts underneath the tub in the bathroom, like a set of jail keys from the local jail in town, because the local jail in Guelph is also haunted. And we found like clothing and other artifacts. And then my oldest said he saw like a figure at one of the back windows. And we did some research on the house, and we were asking like neighbors and stuff, kind of like, what's the history of this place? We just knew the man who was here before, kind of all that sort of stuff. And after we left that house, we kind of felt like, I think we kind of realized, I think there was a lot of bad energy on that property, because there's a lot of bad things that happened. And like, even for us, we experienced some bad things while we were there. And we did find out that there was also a man who passed away by a car accident when he left the driveway, because it's like a long driveway to a country road, and was kind of like on a hill area. And apparently he had a few drinks. He had gone out for the night to go get something from the store, which was at least a 15-20 minute drive. And he left the driveway, went out, and he got hit by another car, and apparently was decapitated. I don't know if that's true, but he died. And so we were like, oh, great. There's lots of bad energy on this property in the area. But there's a cemetery just like down the road and across the street. So I mean, could be all kinds of things wandering around, but
sure.
like there's weird things.
So did you say your son saw an apparition?
Yeah, my mom and him were, I think she was watching him. I wasn't home, but at the back of the house was where the bathroom was. So like, you live in the country for some reason, and this is why I'm probably terrified of like lots of windows. They need to have curtains on them, is because growing up in the country, for some reason, my parents were like, why do you need curtains? You're in the country. You can see everything. And I'm like, I don't want to see what's out there in the dark. Okay. Come on.
Yeah.
So it was all windows. So you walk into the kitchen, because it's an old 1-story, like it's 2-story home, but it was really small. So you walk into the kitchen, and there's all these windows to where the door was. And then they renovated, and around the back to the bathroom was all open windows and French doors and stuff. And no curtains, of course. So I hated it. I hated going to the bathroom like at nighttime, because I'd be like, turn all the lights on. I need to see everything that's out there. And so I guess my son was going to the bathroom. I think we were living with them when he was around 4 or 5, I think. So around 4, and he was walking around the back, and he told my mom, he's like, Grandma, there's a there's a man at the window. She's like, what do you mean a man? Of course, my mom, grandma Mo's like, what do you mean there's a man out there? Because it was just like her and him. My dad's working, he's always worked night shift.
Get the
And
guns.
yeah, right. My mom's like, oh, not the first time. Let me go get that.
Yeah.
So she's like running. She goes out there. But he said it was just like it was just like a head, like an apparition of just a head. And I was like, is that man in that car? He's like, looking,
Whoa,
it's just his head rolling around looking for his body. I don't know.
Whoa,
Like,
yeah, man.
He doesn't remember it. Like,
That's
we still
interesting.
bring it up. And he's
Yeah.
18 now. And he's like, I don't remember any of that. Of course you don't.
But that's quite random for like a 4-year-old to say, I've seen just a
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
I think. Interesting. I mean, kids.
Well,
I mean, I saw
no, and
stuff
my
when I was a kid.
niece, my family is weird. So for me, I don't think it is weird in our family because my niece has said some very unhinged things herself at age 4.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
Avery, have you ever seen anything? Have you ever?
No, I don't think so.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Still got a lot of life, and you never know.
Yeah.
We got a lot of
Yeah.
ghost tours to go on in town. Okay, girl?
Yes.
Guelph does. So Guelph is big for, so Guelph has a really big jail, and we explored it, and we wanted to do like a paranormal ghost tour. So Sarah or Avery was like, I'm too scared. I don't want to go tonight. And I was like, girl. So I'm like, okay, we still have to do it though. But Guelph also does like haunted tours like around downtown.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
they're known for prohibition and the mob, and like a little part of Guelph is called like Little
Creepy
Italy
shit.
because tons of Italians live here. Like Al Capone has been to Guelph, like Hamilton, so Guelph, Hamilton, and the area heading out towards like Buffalo United,
Mhm.
like in the US, is kind of like prohibition. We did a story on some mob bosses from Hamilton, but kind of like all along that strip was where prohibition did. So they would run everything back and forth because it was really close to the border. It's like an hour and a half, not even. But there are tons of tunnels underneath Guelph to connect a bunch of downtown to get
Wow.
all the booze back and forth, and probably the mob bosses. But there's a museum downtown that actually has an exhibit. I think they still have it because when I took the kids one time, I was like, oh shit, hey, look, little kids, there's an exhibit on like prohibition. So our local brewery, which is like a big one, local in Guelph, called Sleeman, it's like the first brewery in town, and they were the ones who were part of the prohibition and the
Mhm.
bootlegging. So now they have
Yeah.
a big, that's part of the museum too. So there's a lot of
Interesting.
history.
And a
All
lot,
the stuff.
yeah, interesting stuff, and a lot of spooky activity going on there.
Yeah.
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 And
Interesting.
Mandy loves it because one thing about me is like I love hearing about it. I love researching it. You put me in that situation, I'm going to act like the biggest chicken you've ever met.
I
So
love
when
it.
we went to this jail last summer, it's just like it's all closed off. Like you can't go inside except for the tour. I think the tour has access. So it's like this big, beautiful grounds. Mandy and I went out for a drink one night, and then we were going back to her house to record, and we were driving by, and I was like, let's just swing in. Let's check out these tours. Let's see what's going on. So we just went and we walked around, and the closer we got to the actual jail, like my heart started pounding. I was like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I can't
And I'm
do
like, come on,
this."
Avery, let's go. Hurry up.
Mandy's like running up the hill, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I can't do it. I can't do it. So like, love learning about it, love
Yeah.
knowing about it.
Yeah,
You
sure.
put me there.
Yeah.
I'm like looking every window, every crack. Let's open the door. Like, what's going on? That's me. That's
fearless. Because I've had quite a lot of paranormal experiences. I've seen a lot of weird
Mhm.
stuff and like shadow figures and all sorts of weird
Wow.
stuff that I've had throughout my life, and it even
Mhm.
continues to this day. I still have weird stuff happening, but it does scare me. Like I still get very,
Yeah.
very scared,
Yeah.
and I've had enough probably experiences to never have any more and be fine with that. I know
So do
there's
you
more
have them?
going on.
Do you have them in your house, or have you had them outside of your
I
house?
have done
Yeah.
in this house
Yeah.
as well. I've had them in this house.
Wow.
I feel like when I started Let's Get Freaky, a lot of weird things started happening because I think when you look into the paranormal, as you guys know, when you look into it,
Yeah.
you
start
feel
to
like
see
I
more.
feel like you invite it, or you
You
look into the
do,
paranormal,
yeah.
it looks back. But
Yeah.
so I've had a lot of weird stuff happen in this house, and quite recently as well, just before Christmas, it was getting quite intense. And the
Oh,
kids were getting scared. The wife was getting scared. I was getting scared, and I sort of had to like do like a real, like
yeah,
leave this house, pray out loud, and for
Yeah.
me that sort of works, and it
yeah,
seems to have calmed. But yeah, I feel like this stuff is interesting, obviously, because we do
yeah.
podcasts on it, but it is dangerous and scary at the same time.
It
It
is.
can
I
be,
feel like
yeah.
there's so much that because we don't know, right? So there's so
Hmm.
much we don't know, and you can't actually see, you can't understand why it's happening. But I know, like, common talk is that if you have negative energy or if you have, a lot of stuff happening where you're kind of like down here and not up top, that they feed off your negative energy and they
Hmm.
feed off your
Yeah.
loneliness and your vulnerability, and that's when activity seems to increase a lot for
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
And I actually do believe in that because the house I lived in, the last haunted house I lived in, we never really noticed anything in the beginning. And then as years went on and we had, our own things going on in our life. And, I find like the negativity that kind of surrounded
Hmm.
that, and it kind of picked up more of that activity. But then
Hmm.
I also feel like the dark energy or whatever was there was also, you know, being poured into my family, and my family was there, so they were taking a lot of that in without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I know once we left that place, it was definitely different. But you don't, if you don't think about that stuff, or you're not into that, you don't
Yeah.
realize, you
You
don't
don't
focus on it, you just
always
think it's
notice it.
rough time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like they feed off that negative
Hmm.
energy, and
Yeah.
it gives them power maybe
It
because it
really
seems like
does.
little things will happen and you'll react
Hmm.
to it and it will scare you, obviously, because paranormal is scary,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it builds and builds and builds,
Hmm.
and that's what you hear a lot with overly haunted houses where like
Yeah.
people are like getting terrorized. It's like it builds, it's slow, little things happen, you hear little noises and you get scared by it, and then other things happen and it just escalates. That's what seems to be the case. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's scary.
I think those entities are not good entities. I don't think they're real, like, spirits coming back from, the afterworld, or spirits who have unfinished business, because those ones I feel are very calming and just kind of like mischievous, or just trying to get your attention or talk to you.
Hmm.
And typically you'll notice, because I think you'll feel that way. And from the experience, like, I worked in a haunted hotel, and sometimes I was a little intimidated on certain spots I was in, but other areas they'd be like, it's fine, it's not a big deal, it doesn't bother me. So you kind of know what's around. But I think the majority of, like, when you hear that, like, it's really bad, you're being scratched, terrorized, that's the dark,
Yeah.
dark
Hmm.
energy that is getting stirred up, and it
Hmm.
wants to come out that way. It just wants to put its dark energy back out
Yeah.
into the world.
I've not been scratched yet, touch wood. I don't think so anyway. I don't want to
I
be, by the
haven't.
way.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
We're not putting that out there.
Listen.
Don't scratch me,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, put it out there. Be nice. Be nice.
So you both were brought up in haunted locations, haunted houses.
Mhm.
Where
Yeah.
you guys are now, is there ever any weird experiences? Because I feel like haunting stuff, paranormal can happen anywhere at any time, especially if you're
Yeah.
open to it. Do you
Hmm.
guys have any experiences where you are now, or?
No, I live in a fairly new house. It was a new build, like
Hmm.
my dad bought it brand new. Um, and I don't know, I think it was just a big farm field before they put in the
Hmm.
subdivision, so I don't, knock on wood, have anything
Yeah.
happen here, especially right now because I'm home alone and I live in a basement and I'm like,
Oh
And you're in the
no,
dark. This
you're in a
always happens.
basement.
I'm in the pitch
It's
dark.
always in a basement. Oh
We
no.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
always.
We're basement dwellers.
Yeah.
We always sit in a basement and tell our creepy stories. It's just,
It's
we're a
perfect.
sucker for punishment. That's what we do.
Yeah. But no, I don't have
I'm
anything here.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, my house is new. Well, the house I'm in is like 20 years, and it's a pretty busy subdivision.
Mhm.
It's near, I've got like three schools around me, stores really close by to, I mean, the closest thing would be like the dump that might have something in it, maybe dead bodies. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I don't have anything. I'm not close to like downtown, where downtown is the haunted area. I used to live downtown, and I
Yeah.
I don't think Duke Street was a haunted place, but I just never really
The,
liked that house. It was a
that
old
place was
wartime home I
just,
lived in. It's just
yeah.
it didn't have, it was just weird, creepy vibes, just creepy vibes in that house I lived in for a while. But I did recently have an experience at an Airbnb in Pittsburgh.
Let's go.
So me and my girlfriends, we decided to go to Pittsburgh for a weekend. And this year I turned 40. So I was like, okay, ladies, I like this country artist. She helped get me through my divorce with her divorce album. And I was like, I love this girl. I want to go. If she goes on tour, I want to go see her. So of course she went on tour in February and we were like, let's go make it a weekend. I mean, we were in the end, we saw this girl in Toronto, but I was like, let's go to Pittsburgh for the weekend because why not? So me, my sister, one of my best friends since I was a teenager, and then my other friend and her sister, we were like, girls trip, road trip, rent a car, go down. And we rent this cute little Airbnb. It had been renovated. It's just like on the outskirts of like town for Pittsburgh. It took us like maybe 5 minutes to drive in. And so you could tell it's an older home because of the style of all the homes, like row homes. And I don't know, maybe I was high. I don't know. We did have some gummies, but we don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was haunted because I'm not the only one who felt something in that place. So it had a hot tub. It had 3 bedrooms. So it was me and my sister were sharing a room, which was like the top room, which basically the attic. And so it was me and my sister were up there. And then my friend and her sister were in the other room with bunk beds. And then my other friend, she got this nice, big, beautiful room to herself. And I was like, how did that work out? She's like, I didn't bring a sibling. So I got a room to myself. And it was a cute, gorgeous home. And I remember I'd gone to bed. Yeah, I went to bed and then I was like, we were drinking, having gummies in the hot tub, girls trip, having a great time. And I was like, oh, I got to get up. I got to go to pee in the middle of the night. So I get up and I go down these stairs. Bad idea. Don't get high and drunk and then go down these steep stairs in an old home. You might break your neck. So I'm like slowly like, don't die on this trip. And I'm going down the stairs and I go into the bathroom on that floor. And the bathroom was right outside the one room my friend was in. And in older homes, you can hear all the stairs. You can hear everything moving, people walking around. So I'm in the bathroom and I was like, oh, somebody else must be up having a drink or a snack or whatever. Because I heard them walk past the bathroom. So I'm like, finished, get up and open the door. And I'm like, hello? No one's out there. They're all sleeping. I could hear my friend snoring. And I was like, all right, no one is here. So I was like, maybe my sister went downstairs. So I go back up. No, she's in bed, clearly in bed, hadn't gotten out. I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe I'm just high. I don't know. I'm going back to bed. So I wake up the next day and I say, okay, ladies, I think this place is haunted. I was like, I heard one of you. Did any of you get up in the middle of the night? They're like, no. Any of you get up, go to the bathroom, go anywhere? None of you sleepwalk? Cool. Nope. And I was like, okay, pretty sure it's haunted because I heard someone walk past. My friend was like, who was sleeping in that bedroom where I heard them walk past. She was like, okay. She's like, fuck, I wasn't going to say anything. She's like, but shit, the other night she went to bed first. And then we kind of all trickled in later. She's like, I thought one of you came in my room because she had her back to the door. She's like, I thought one of you came in and like touched me and like was behind me. She's like, and I turned around and no one was there. And she's like, I thought it was one of you. And I was like, someone's haunting that floor. I said, they probably came out of your bedroom and was like, I gotta use the bathroom. And then was like, oh, somebody's in there. I'm going back in. I'm like, they're trying to snuggle with you. She's like, oh God, I got molested in my sleep. And I was like, I was like, calm down. They just touched you. I mean, like, I am lonely. I mean, it's okay. But I was like,
it's freaky.
Pretty sure that place is haunted. I was like, should we tell the
Yeah.
host? But I'm like, maybe we're all just really high. She goes, I don't think we're all really that high. And I was like, maybe not. But I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I'm like, let's rent that place next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite cool when multiple people experience
Yeah.
different things,
Yeah.
but at the same place, and it's sort of because you.
I
when
would have
you-
brushed it off if she
Yeah.
hadn't said something. I would have been
Yeah.
like, oh, I was definitely high. It was that gummy. Those were worth
Mhm.
the money. But no, she was like, I got it too.
Yeah. Yeah. When you
Yeah.
experience something with someone else, that's like the best thing because like you trust your gut. Obviously, you know when something's weird, but you've still got that little doubt in your mind that
Yeah,
maybe I'm
yeah.
just overthinking, maybe I'm just having a mad
Yeah.
moment. But when someone else is experiencing it as well, it's definite.
Yeah, that was exactly it. Like I know Avery and I did an episode. It's one of our, I think, first or 3 or 4 episodes when we started the podcast, and it's called The Beck House, and it's actually located in Penetanguishene, where I lived for a while. And when growing up as a kid, I was like, I always thought this place I always thought it was gorgeous old manor home, and they converted it into apartments. And I never knew that they actually had Airbnb. So the top floor they converted into an Airbnb and it's haunted. So you can rent it out. And so many people who are big like YouTubers have gone and stayed there and experienced things. So my sister lives close by there still. She's kind of like a half an hour away from there. And so I was like, guys, let's book a night there and go. And then in that area too, during like Halloween time, they have St. Marie among the Hurons, and it's like a little old village, and they do like ghost tours and ghost walks, and you can go along the water and the ships and stuff like that. So I was like, we should book that. So me and my sister were like gung ho. Avery's like, okay, I'll come with you.
Like somebody has to snuggle me all night and keep me safe.
We'll bring Preston. You guys can snuggle together, cry.
We're like, help me, pal.
So have either of you seen anything like a shadow figure or anything that stands out strange? Have you ever had a visual with the paranormal?
No.
I haven't. I get like random, like I'll see like random things out of the corner of my eye and like nothing's there. But if I do see things, it's usually like little orbs. Like I'll see them, and I tend to see them more if I take a photo. So I actually have a photo. It's behind me, pinned to my board, and it's my cousin when he was little, and it was my grandma had passed away, and we went to the church after her funeral, and he was in the daycare area. And so I took a photo of him. I used to have those Polaroid cameras where they print out, right? So I'd taken a photo of him, and in the corner there's like this orb that you can see. I'll go grab it because it's right behind me.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh,
so Avery, you've not seen anything yet?
No, kind of like Mandy, like just things out of the corner of my eye, but nothing I could like pinpoint and
my
say
favorite
like, oh
photo.
yeah, that's that.
I don't know if you can see it because of my light, but let me see
Okay.
if I can. But you can see like in the corner there's like
Yes.
this little orb,
Yes.
and that's my cousin.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So did you, obviously you're taking a picture of your cousin, but did you get a vibe that there was something there or like a feeling?
No, I didn't even notice it because like I basically pulled it out and then I shook it and then I kind of put them all away, and I never looked at them till I got home later because I was just distracting myself and going around taking photos after the funeral.
Yeah.
And I usually helped a lot with like my little cousins, who Avery dated one of them. That's actually his brother. And so I used to babysit them all the time. That was my job as a teenager, was to take care of them. So I never really thought much of it. And then after, when I brought it home and we were looking at it, and I was like, I always say, I'm like, that's grandma. She came to say hi. Yeah. It's like one of my favorite photos I have.
Interesting. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, and there's something I feel, because I get a lot of people sending me pictures of like orbs, or sometimes it's just like a grey mist or something like that, and it's sometimes it's quite hard to tell that. They'll say, look, this is an apparition. It's sometimes quite hard to tell, but I think there's something in when the person's getting that feeling that there's something there, and they take a picture of it, and they might get like an orb or a little
like a shadow or
like
something.
A shadow or something.
Yeah.
It sort of confirms to them that they've, so that, I think there's something to that. Very interesting.
I think it's really cool that people are able, like I've seen those ones where people take them from Gettysburg and they can see like a little face in the background. Like for me, I'll get scents, like smells of things. So that's usually when I know someone's nearby, and it's usually I know my grandma's with me because I'll smell lilacs. And it's not even, I don't have lilacs in the house, or it's not season, or I don't have the windows open, and I'll smell like a hint of it. And it's just kind of like, I know that she's there, and I'm like, oh, hi, how's it going? And
wow,
move on with my day.
Yeah. It's not happened for a while, but I used to smell both my granddads, like their cologne. I used to smell it.
Wow.
Especially like, it's not really happened for quite a while, but it used to happen every now and again, and I'd be like, it's my granddad's here, Or it might, and
it's just so comforting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know if you guys have had a dream where like it feels so real, and you're with a past relative, and like you can hug them, and you can like actually feel them, and it feels so real. And I get that with both my granddads as well. And then you wake up and you're like, I thought that was real, and it might be real. I don't know, but you guys had that?
I've had that. Yeah, I had that with one of my grandfathers who passed away. We didn't have like the best relationship. When he had passed away, there was a lot of stuff, but I never got to say goodbye to him. I didn't make it. And um I did. I normally don't like think about him or anything like that. Like randomly it'll come up in conversation here and there. But I do remember having a dream where we were there in the spot having a conversation. And I don't know if it's just my brain being that moment feeling vulnerable and being like, I didn't get a chance to say anything, or it's because I had a conversation with my cousin who was talking about something related to that. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. There's something to it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had ones where, so like I mentioned, I grew up in the same house my mom did. So my grandma passed away when I was 4 or 5. And that was her house. So when we moved back in, I on and off had dreams of like walking into the house, being a teenager, an adult, whatever. And then grandma was like sitting in her chair and I'm like have a full conversation with her. It would never get to the point where you could like touch her or hug her, but it was like you walking in the person you are now, but in like the past sense. So like it was her house, it was her setup, everything. So I've had those ones.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more to our dreams, I believe. And I used to think dreams were just dreams, and you think about these things, but sometimes you'll have a dream and it'll like affect your mood for the day. Like it can be and it feels so real, some of these dreams. Something to it.
Have you ever had like those moments where it's like they call it deja vu, right? Where you have a moment and you sit there and you're like, this happened.
Yeah.
I've lived this and I remember this and I've done this, and it happens often with me. It's the weirdest thing for me. And every time I'll just like, people will be like, are you all right? Because I'll sit there and be like, didn't we just do this? Like, what's happening right now? And then everyone's like, what's wrong with you? Are you all right? I'm like, I'll keep that to myself next time then. But yeah, it's so crazy how that is. Like one thing I love to tell is, it's like my favorite one to tell is my niece she's turning 5 soon. And she's a ham. She is she's just hilarious. And she loves, her favorite holiday is Halloween. Her favorite movie, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah,
she
love
is
that film.
Jack Skelly is like her thing. And Sally, I bought her these giant stuffs for like her birthday. But she sees things. I know she does. I know she's got the same intuition as my sister. And she's definitely, she's got to tap into that. But she's got those abilities, because she would say to my sister that she's like, oh, Avery hates it every time she says it. Every time my sister tells me, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So she always tells my sister, she's like, oh, my other mommy and daddy. And my sister's like, what do you mean your other? My niece was born during COVID. Like we had to see her with masks on, right? She didn't go to school until she was like basically the last year, till she started in school. And so she was like, oh, my other mommy and daddy. And my sister's like, what do you mean your other mommy and daddy? She's like, it's whatever she watches on TV. She's like, oh yeah, I had another mommy and daddy before you. And I think she said their name. I can't remember. I think she might have said the mom's name. I don't remember. But she would tell my sister, and they live in a small town where actually my mom grew up. And so my sister was like, yeah, I was driving around. I drove past this building, and she was like, oh, that's where I think they used to live or work or something. And she pointed this building out, and my sister's like, well, it's freaking weird. She's like, okay, all right, whatever. And she would try and get more out of her, but then she would just kind of like leave it, because my niece also took a while to talk. So when she would get her to say words, she's like, you know what? Don't want to push her too much. It might be too overwhelming for her. So she would leave it. But the one thing that really got my sister is when she said to her, she goes, oh yeah. She's like, when my mommy and daddy didn't want me anymore, they put me in your tummy. She was like, I'm sorry, what? When they didn't want you?
It creeps me out every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And for my sister, that was big, because my sister, like, she lost a lot of babies before she had my niece and stuck with the pregnancy. So for my sister, she was like, who sent you to me? Like, it was the strangest thing for her to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a 5-year-old to say stuff like that.
Yeah, she was like 3, 4. She was 3 when
And
she started to
she was
see it.
3. So that does, I
Yeah.
mean, where are you getting that from? You know?
Right? Like my sister's like, I get it. Like she likes zombies. She likes to watch those movies, but she was just like, who? I don't understand. And she's actually named after a gentleman my sister used to work with, and she was really close with him and his family, who passed away. And so they have a picture of him in the house. And sometimes she'll see her just talking to the photo, just
Whoa.
chatting away.
Yeah. It sounds like she's going to be on this podcast in a few
Yeah,
years'
I know,
time.
right?
Yes.
The things this girl says just blows my
Wow.
mind. Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, you
Yeah.
hear these stories of children that seemingly have these like past lives, and that they can describe a house in another country,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you hear that so often, stories like that.
It's
That's
crazy.
that's wild.
That actually just triggered something for me. So when Owen was little, so my oldest is going to be 19 this year. And so Avery, of course, missed like his small years. But when he was, I remember in the house that he saw that like face, he always used to say it to my mom. And that's why I forget about it. And he'd always used to say to my mom, oh, back in the olden days, back in the olden days, we would do this and we would do that. My mom's like, what the frick? Okay, buddy.
Like even turning 19 this year, like he's always been a very, very old soul.
He's an
Like
old man. Yeah.
he was never the typical classic teenager ever.
Mm-mm. No.
So
He became like an
Interesting.
air cadet. He joined the reserves. He's going to school and joined the reserves at the same time. And he's just I always said that the moment he was born, I'm like, he's an old soul. He looked like a little old man.
Yeah.
He looked like Mr. Burns actually when he was born, but he's a little old man. But yeah, he's just so funny. So when
Interesting.
I forgot he would say that actually. That just popped in my head.
Does he have paranormal experiences now? Does he still?
You know what? If he did, I don't know if he'd tell me. Like he
Yeah.
listens to my podcast. He likes to like hear that stuff, but I don't know if he would. Like I'm curious to know if he has at any point experienced things because he was an air cadet for like 5 years, and so they were on the old armory base in Guelph. So I'd love to hear if he like experienced anything while working there or being there. And now he's at the old armory in Barrie where he signed up for the reserves. So I'm curious to know if he's experienced anything or what he's doing his training at like a place close by called Base Borden and stuff like that. So, because I know there's a place called Trenton and it's in Kingston. And that's where he did camp for about 2 years or 2 weeks during one summer when he first started. And there are tons of stories of people who have experienced paranormal happenings on that army base. So, and they like sleep in the barracks and stuff like that. So I'd be interested to know. And I don't know if he would like say anything because of that's just who he is, if he would say anything, or if he would even like kind of like put 2 and 2 together. Cause sometimes he's a little clueless, but
You have to get him
Avery
on the
gets it.
podcast. You'll have to get him on the
Yeah.
podcast.
yeah. Well, I tell stories about him on the podcast all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy stories though, that he'll be like, he takes care of me. Sometimes he's like, God, Mom, you're embarrassing. But
Oh, that's awesome though. I've got to ask you guys, you're on Let's Get Freaky. So we've talked a lot of haunted ghosts. Have you guys seen anything in the sky that you can't explain or any other weird stuff that's happened? Have you seen a Bigfoot or anything like that? No.
no, but every
I'd be
single time we
scared.
go
Yeah.
camping,
Yeah.
there's always like weird nature noises, and then I just sit there and like
Nature
this is
noises.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
That.
we were recording last summer. We recorded a Sunday Scaries and we were at my trailer and we were at a campsite and we were recording and Preston was on that episode. He wanted to tell stories about dogs, ghost animals.
Yeah.
So we were trying to tell the story around this campfire. So we had annoying neighbors, kids screaming, and we're like, I guess we have to go inside the trailer to record. But when we were sitting there, do you remember Preston said he saw something? He just brought it up the other day. I forgot about that. He said, I saw something because there was like bushes behind us. And he was like, yeah, I saw like a figure over there. And I was like, no, I'm like, I didn't see anything, but he swore he saw something. And then like a week or two later, I took him to, no, this was before a month prior. I had taken him to my uncle's for the weekend and he heard footsteps at an old like mental health asylum that was in Aurelia. We actually did an episode on it called Huronia. regional center, and we went to go visit the graves of the kids and stuff because they didn't have proper graves, or the people who had passed away while they were in there. And so we were looking at, I did a video and everything for the podcast. And my son came to see it and he's like, Mom, were you behind me? And I was like, what? He's like, I thought you were behind me. And I got in the car and you turned around and no one was there. I heard footsteps behind you. So we make a joke and we said it's Jimmy. It's his friend Jimmy. So now he's always like, let's go see Jimmy. But I don't think there's anything strange in the sky that we've seen. Like, I know we try to, like, me and my friends will, when we're having a fire, we'll look up and stuff because my boyfriend's really into that type of stuff and astrology, and so is my other friends. But I would like to well, you know what, maybe I have experienced something strange when it comes to that. I always forget about things until I start talking.
Yeah.
But I've told Avery this, and I think we talked about it on one of our episodes. Because we do have episode about aliens. We had someone write into us and he's writing a story on his experiences, and it's called Doug's the Real MVP. And he kind of like prompted my memory. But when I was younger, like small, I think like 4 or 5, and I have like this flashback constantly of being on a stretcher, like basically like a metal table in a white gown with people with white gowns around me and like a big bright light, and being strapped down and people doing like tests on me. But I was never in the hospital as a kid. I never had to be put into the hospital. I was never given emergency whatsoever. I never cut myself. Like, I never had gashes, never had stitches, never broke a limb. And I just remember being terrified and strapped down, and it's just like all white, bright lights. And for me, I just always was like, that's probably just some weird dream. But after a while of like doing this podcast and reading people's stories, I'm like,
alien.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is this why I'm so strange? Like, what did they do to me? Like,
man,
you know
you've
what?
been
Come
abducted.
get me. Come get me. Life sucks around here. Okay, it's strange times. Come get me.
That's wild, though. So is that like a memory that you don't know where it's come from, but you've got that memory?
Yeah, and it for the longest time it would just like disappear and I'd forget about it, and then I'd randomly something would trigger it and I just remember it, and then it would go away again, and then the podcast just brings it up randomly, and I still just randomly forget about it.
That sounds like abduction. I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I talk to a lot of people that have
I've been
experienced
probed.
that,
Oh
that
my God.
sounds just. But the white doctors that you saw, were they like? Could you see like faces on them in the memory?
I don't remember faces.
Yeah.
I just remember gowns. Like, I don't picture faces in them whatsoever. All I know is like it was cold, and I didn't like it, and I was like scared. It felt like I was like, when I think about it, the dream is kind of like still so like real too. When I like, you know, when you're that young, you should forget those things. But it's like I felt like a morgue, you know, like how morgues are with like all the drawers and stuff, and just like, steel table just laying on it. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's kind of like the vibe I get.
Maybe a little bit of regression you could do, maybe, and look
I need
into
someone to like, hypnotize me, bring me back.
You saying more, you've just reminded me of an experience. I don't think I've shared. I might have shared it. I probably have shared it at some point on the show. But when my daughter was really young, my eldest Amy, she's now 13, but she was really young when this happened. I think she was like 2 or 3, around that sort of age, maybe a little bit. I'm terrible with remembering dates and ages, so I don't know exactly. She was very young, and she shouldn't have been able to do this. But so my wife was in town doing a bit of shopping. So they left the town, and Amy was in the back of the car in her seat, and they're driving back home, and they pulled up at traffic lights, and there's this building. All you could see was like bricks. So it was a building. Like, my wife didn't know what the building was. We didn't know what the building was, and my daughter was looking out the window, and she's going, "Mummy, what are these people doing, laying down in this building?" And describing it like that. And my wife's looking like, what are you talking about? It's just a brick wall. She went, "No, I can see people laying down with like white sheets over them. Like this." This is absolutely true. And my wife's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's nothing. It's just a wall." So they got home, and my wife's a bit like, "Well, that was weird." Told her mum, and they've sort of Googled the area where they were. The building that my daughter was sitting was a morgue. I know. It's very
She's
strange.
got
Yeah.
Charlie abilities.
Very
That's what she has.
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange. I think
Like
I've
she
shared
could
that
see right
before, but
through.
that happened. And I believe she was
Yes.
about 2 or 3, but she was old enough to
Oh
sort of be able
goodness.
to explain what she
Yeah.
was seeing, but it was just a brick wall.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's weird, isn't
That's
it?
so creepy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Whether she can see through the walls, I don't know, but that in that
Right?
moment,
Yeah. It's like she had
she
a
could
vision
see
of
it.
like she
Yeah,
could see what was in there because
yeah.
wow.
It's weird, isn't it, Al? That's quite an
Yeah.
amazing thing, but I've not thought of that for a while. So
Yeah.
something happens and it triggers those
And it
memories.
pops up.
Interesting.
Pops right back in. Yeah.
So
That's
I've
crazy.
loved talking to you tonight, guys. It's been so
Yeah, it's been
interesting.
fun.
Yeah, thanks for
I love
having
what you
Yeah.
us.
guys are doing. The show's awesome. What's the
Thank you.
plans for the future? What's next?
Well, we got a lot of good stuff up our sleeves.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We're getting back into being a little more organized with our episodes to start.
Yeah.
If you listen right from the get-go, like Mandy and I are just pure chaos constantly.
I
Like we're
love it.
running on fumes
We're
everywhere.
entertainingly unhinged is a review that we received. Okay.
See,
Favorite.
Yes, that
Favorite.
is.
that is a good review. Yeah.
Because we
It's
always say
very
we're
true.
unhinged all the time.
But we're getting back into like monthly themes. So,
Hmm.
for the month of May, we're kind of focusing on like mental health issues and unfortunately heavier topics like
Hmm.
death and suicide and all of those things surrounding it. So that's our theme for the month of May since it is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, moving through the summer, we're going to have a couple more themes up our sleeves and kind of sticking to that and being a little consistent with the actual topics we're looking into and bringing to you.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we're planning to bring some more people onto our podcast. So we're going to start bringing in guests for our Sunday Scaries. We've got one lined up already, and then we have a few more. So we're slowly going to get more people on our show because we've been a guest on quite a few podcasts, and we've had one guest on ours. So now that we can somewhat get a little bit more organized and
Mhm.
maybe get our shit together, we'll see. We don't know. We haven't decided.
try.
It depends on
We
the day.
try.
But you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
I'm
thank
going to be
you.
listening. That's for sure.
Awesome. Yeah,
So
no, we appreciate it. We've had fun. So thanks for
Yeah,
having us.
can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Yeah,
totally.
you can find us.
Find us. You take it away. You go.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm like never know. I'm like, you gonna go? Am I gonna go? Somehow, I can't telepathically yet. We'll read each other's minds soon.
We'll get there.
Usually, sometimes we do read each other's minds, but
Yes.
yeah, you can find us on wherever you get your favorite podcast from. We're pretty much on the majority of the streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Good Pods, kind of wherever. And make sure you follow us. Please rate us. Give us a review. We want a review.
5 stars.
We love reviews. And please give us some stars. We love stars. And we do have Instagram. We don't do Facebook. I manage the social media, so I can only manage Instagram right now. We started a TikTok.
TikTok's
Don't
too
go
hard.
there. I can't do TikTok. I'm going to be 40. I don't know what to do half the time. And we try, we really do. But we don't have a Patreon yet. We don't have YouTube. We've thought about it, but I don't know if we're ready for people to watch us on YouTube yet. We sit together and then we'll just be ridiculous and realize, I don't know if we want people to see how actually chaotic we are. It might make more sense to people, or it might be entertaining.
Yeah,
I don't
let's
know,
go.
but yeah.
Get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I
Down
love you guys have got good energy and I'm really enjoying it. And
Thank you.
hopefully this is the first of many conversations.
Yes.
So we can
yes,
do
sure.
this again. And
Yeah,
thank you so
definitely.
much for sharing your experiences and your thoughts on all things strange.
We
Thank you
appreciate
very
it. Thanks
much,
for
again for
guys.
having us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, make sure you share it where you can. That is a great way to support the show. Give us both 5 stars, both our shows. Give us 5 stars right now. And yeah, we'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.